Welcome back to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken. We're going to switch it up this week. Like any good educator, it's important to pause and reflect. We're 6 episodes into season 1. On this edition, I want to rewind the tape and play some of my favorite moments from the women we've had on. It just so happens we're releasing this edition while a lot of vitriol spreads across many of our timelines related to women's rights, credentials, beauty, and more. I am so grateful for the women in my life. I'm grateful for those who have given me their love and challenged me to be better. They're gifted, beautiful, funny, and shatter glass ceilings. You'll hear highlights from my interviews with 3rd grade teacher Mariah Barnett, 10th grade English teacher Rae Black, and Lizz Denneau, a high school visual arts teacher. Mariah's journey took her to Chicago. She heard about Teach for America during college, applied, packed her bags, and has impacted lives ever since. Next, you'll learn how Rae is helping to grow the game of girls flag football in Arizona. She's created a Black student union, and much more. Finally, we're closing out this episode with Lizz. She has such a tangible love for all things art and all things supporting young people. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe on your favorite audio platform of choice, and follow us on social media at 4AZTeach. Thank you for tuning in. Mariah, you're up.
I'm sure, as you know, like onboarding and all of that.
Your summer institute.
Schools. I interviewed with I think 10 schools maybe. And that's the interview process for viewers. Basically, you have to preference your schools in order, and the principals have to preference their interviews in order. And if you both rank each other number 1, that's a match and you get an offer. And before I had even done my interviews, I knew what school I wanted to match with, because the name was the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Academy of Social Justice. And when I read the name, I was like, again, you got to do it. 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 Like, oh my God. Like, I was like, this couldn't be more like me. Like, I just couldn't believe it. After college, before TFA, because I had graduated early, I had this time period where I was just working. And that's when I was really deep in my activism and organizing protests and marches in Tucson. And so when I started to move into teaching and this opportunity for this school was presented to me, I was just like, it's literally meant to be. So I accepted my offer, of course, and I moved to Chicago in May of 2021, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
I'm still at my school, my placement school.
Yeah, you still got the polo and everything. It matches well with 4AZ. Like, it was
the thing. I was so upset when I got there and realized, these colors are the same as Marana High.
Oh my God. I know you pop onto this conversation and it's giving major blue and gold vibes.
Major Go Tigers.
It's giving. That's funny. So Mariah, what was your experience as a first-year teacher? Because that year is so pivotal. I think any job you start, especially after college, there's going to be ups and downs. I think with teaching in particular, it's one of those professions where you just have to stay the course. I know for me, it wasn't until year 3 when I felt as though I think I might be okay at this.
Exactly.
I know what an IEP is. I know how to create a learning objective. Exactly. I'm just consistent. Exactly. So first year, Miss Barnett, what was she like?
When I look back on first year Miss B, I'm like, what were you doing? It was hard. And I think like every teacher will tell you your first year is going to be so hard. And they try to like sugarcoat it because they don't want you to just leave the profession, but there's no way around it. Your first year is so hard. And with TFA, since it's a certification program, the deal was that we had to be in a master's program the first 2 years during our 2-year commitment to be certified to teach in the state of Illinois. So while I was teaching full-time, I was also in a grad program full-time. So I would have classes 2 nights a week, and they were virtual, which was really nice, but also sometimes really hard to focus after a full day of teaching. And so definitely there were 10, 12-hour days spent on assignments where I'm having to catch myself up from the class because I couldn't focus in the class because I had just dealt with crisis all day at my school.
And you're working with our babies, right? Which grade are you teaching currently? I think you switched
recently. 3rd grade now, but I taught 1st grade for 2 years.
Wow, yeah, those are our babies. They need you and your love and support, and
they were
it's a lot, right?
first year teaching, the year before was their kindergarten year, and they were virtual. So when I got them, it was mayhem.
Yeah.
And
Your first year teaching looked a lot different than mine
it was mayhem.
and many of us.
It was just like chaos. And I think that my relationship building saved a lot of that. Like, I would say that's one of my strengths. And just being able to really connect with the students and build their trust was helpful. But then moving into my second year, we got a school-wide, well, a district-wide curriculum. And so I think that was really pivotal for me, because being a first-year teacher and having to come up with your curriculum for every assignment and finding like having to create your own lesson plans with like books and aligning them to the standard, and like it's a lot for a first-year teacher. And so I think having a curriculum that was made for Chicago students, it's very culturally relevant. It's grade level, which is hard because my students do not average on grade level due to the pandemic, due to the neighborhood they live in. And so there's a lot of accommodations that have to be made, but they're definitely able to rise to the challenge. And I definitely hear you when you said your third year is when you kind of were like, okay, because this is my third year and I'm finally like, okay. Like, I think I can.
You're killing it.
I think I can do this. Like,
yes.
I'm kind of getting the hang of it. I'm, making routine for myself. And so, yeah.
So not only are you an amazing third-year teacher now, Mariah, you are also going for your PhD. You were recently accepted into your PhD program at the University of Illinois. Big congratulations.
Thank you.
So clearly you are not only doing your thing in the classroom, but you're an expert at balance as well, because that's just incredible. Final question for you before we get into our exit ticket.
Okay, I love that.
Thank you. Shout out to Kevin Paulson, one of my dear friends. Do you know Kev? By the way,
that name sounds familiar.
He's an Alpha. Yeah, I think he helped move in some students for Black. I'm not sure if maybe that was
that
the
name.
year after.
I think I do know of him. I don't know him personally.
I'm sure.
But that name sounds really familiar.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Kev. He came up with the exit ticket idea.
Shout out
to Kev. I gotta give him his credit. But last question before the exit ticket, Mariah. Yeah. What keeps you in the classroom?
Oh, that's a great question. My kids keep me in the classroom. I think that I applaud Black educators in Arizona who are able to stay and sacrifice maybe the feeling of community of people who look like them at their schools, because that was something that I personally felt like I wasn't able to do. Whereas I have a different layer added to my teaching experience, which is the neighborhood that I teach in and the community I teach in being so vastly different from Arizona. I teach in arguably one of the worst neighborhoods in Chicago. And so the inequities and inequalities of education are just so prominent. And the things that I see and hear my students go through daily just breaks my heart. But they are the most resilient people that I've ever met. And no matter how much trauma they go through every single day, they still look for the brighter side, and they still want more. And that inspires me. And for me, what I always tell people when they find out that I work in Inglewood and they're like, are you scared to go there? Do you hate working there? I always tell people, like, I get to drive my nice car into Inglewood for 7 to 8 hours a day. Then I get to drive my nice car out to my apartment where I know there's going to be food for me to cook myself dinner. Then I get to lay in my bed and go to sleep. My students don't have that privilege. They don't get to leave Inglewood. Some of them probably never will. And they're not scared to be there. So if they're not scared, why should I be? And because of that, my students will always be my why. I literally never thought that I would love them this much, but like they're literally my children. Like,
and with with the proper surrounding and the good coaching, the quality coaching, I know what it can give to a young man. And the same thing it gives to a young man, it gives to a young woman: discipline, teamwork, learning how to manage your schedule, commitment, leaning on others, having others lean on you, handling that pressure. Quarterback, the pressure that a quarterback goes through, you ride the wave, like you're mentally. They love you when you throw a good ball. They're mad at you when you don't, when you fumble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what the quarterback does the whole game, men and women, the whole game. You know what I mean? So all of that builds character, and it builds confidence, which is what young women need. We need to help build character. We need more confidence. We need to be able to rise to the occasion and tackle a challenge. And all those things Girls Flag gives to young women. And it's perfect. Like, it's something that I wish that when I was in high school at Clovis High, I wish I could have played on the Girls Flag team. Exactly. Like, I wish I could have done that. So my whole motivation is giving them something that I didn't get, that I have a full platform to elevate them, to promote them, to put them out there, to teach them skills and drills. And you started off with just the 6 schools in Chandler Unified playing each other. That's how we started the first year in 2021. It was just, our district AD, super supportive. All of the ADs in Chandler Unified, supportive, backed it all up. We coached it for free. Jeremy Beeman and we coached it. There was no stipend. It was all out of
just
love.
Out of love for the kids in the game.
All out of love, and for me, all about it, trying to give a young woman an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, that was my thing. Like, whatever, if it's free, then it's free. If I have to do it for free, I have to do it for free. But I was determined to give that opportunity. Wow. And so it started out with the 6 schools. Then the next year it was 32 schools. The next spring. So it's spring.
It's a big jump.
6, yep. The next spring is 32. Then AIA, boom, we're going to vote it in. It grew so fast. We're going to skip the emerging sport stage, and we're just going to make it a sport. We're just going to make it a theme. We're going to give it to all of Arizona.
And listen, Rae, we know, being in education and living in Arizona, literally nothing happens this quickly.
Right.
Not road construction, not anything in a district or at a school. Yeah. This happened so fast. Do you attribute that to just how much momentum and good vibes there were? People could see the impact this was having on young women, particularly following COVID.
Mm-hmm. And the best part is the culture of the coaches. Like, we still all have that we're on the same page, like, type of supportive culture, not against each other, win or lose. Even when I lose to your team or you lose to my team, we're still friends at the end of the game. This is what we try to instill in the girls, because I don't want it muddy and petty, and, you know what I mean, or selfish. Like, we can't grow the sport with those things in the background, with our girls acting like that, or as coaches, us acting like that. We can't grow the sport. We still don't even have our footing. Like, we're still trying to get our feet on the ground. And so in order to not taint it, we just really stick together a lot. And when they flipped it from spring to fall, that gave it a football, now it's football season. You know what I mean? Like, now it's football season. You know what I mean? Like, NFL and boys tackle. So then it gets grouped into, now it's football season for us too, exactly, which gave it more of a elevated platform. So now you have NFL teams completely supporting Girls Flag in their state, and giving them uniforms, giving them equipment, training them, coaching them, teaching them, coaches coming out of the woodwork wanting to do it, dedicating themselves to it. So it really grew so fast. But when things happen like that, sometimes it's almost like a dream. It's like, I have to open my eyes and I'm like, no, this is my life. like I do this.
Yes, you do.
I do this every day, and I get paid, to do this.
Now. Yes. So along with that, that's fantastic. I can see how much joy it brings you. So along with teaching, with coaching, in terms of doing things, you also advise your school's Black Student Union.
Yes.
Tell us about that process, because the East Valley, and you let me know, you're much more well acquainted with East Valley than I am. not necessarily a huge Black population. I worked
Mhm.
at Marana High School in Southern Arizona, also not known for a bustling Black community or Black culture there, but we are there. We exist.
Yeah.
We started a Black student union on our campus. I want to know the process of getting that started at Castile. What is it like to be the BSU advisor?
So Castile is a fairly new school. And when I got hired there, I had asked the principal, just looking around, getting acquainted and seeing what is going on. I had asked the principal, I was like, does Castile have a Black student union? And he was like, no, but I really want one. Like he was like 100%. He saw it was important to have all types of clubs, not just the Black Student Union, but all various types of clubs. And the Black Student Union just wasn't one that had a sponsor, because you have to have a teacher to sponsor the club, to run the club.
We know how that goes. It's no
Yes.
surprise why there are
Yes.
Black students, but are there Black teachers at the school?
And even if
Sometimes
not a Black teacher, because not all the BSU advisors are Black. Some of them are just teachers that are like, okay, let me help these students. They came and asked me, I'm going to do it.
100%.
Whatever. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Right.
We know it hits different though if kids can see someone who looks like them, right?
It is different. And in my Black student union at Clovis High, with my school being predominantly white, our Black student union was lit up. Over 100 plus students.
Over 100.
Yes, over 100 plus.
Clovis High.
So, yes, our Black student union was everything. I mean, like I just didn't like when Castile didn't have one, I was like, they're missing out. You know what I mean? Like, this is so much fun, to learn and come together and do presentations or do community service and just get to know each other in general. Just make the friendship part. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about. And it was welcomed in. I filled out the paperwork. I had the students have to leave the club, as you know. The students have to ask. So one day I'm sitting in my room and all these football players come in. And they're like, Miss Black, at this point, they're like, hey, we have a Black teacher. Like, so they're all kind of coming in like, who is this lady? This young lady with all this energy. And you know what I mean? And we heard about her. And so they're coming in, they're like, okay, Miss Black, we want to start a Black student union. I'm like, done. Let's do it. Let's get the paperwork. And then from that point on, filled it out. The district put it through in a matter of probably like 4 days. It was approved. It was officially a club. Officially. We turned it around, got the officers put into place, had planned our first event. Like, what do we want to stand for? And what do we want to do? Because when you have a Black student union, there's a little stereotype that follows that. The stereotype is that only Black students can join. That's not true. It's not true. Anybody can join. It's a club. It's a school's club. So anyone at the school, you can join if you would like to be a part of this culture, if you would like to learn more, join. And our Black student union was very diverse because the football players, African American, they have a lot of friends. And so they're having fun, and their friends are like, well, I want to have fun. Well, they're like, well, then join the Black student union.
Yeah.
So they're all joining.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun to see that, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, but not the small part, the more inclusive part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the everyone. Yeah, we're Black and we're proud. We want to be in the Black student union. Yes, but you're welcome to come be in the Black student union with us and come have a good time with us and learn about Black culture and do these fun activities with us. And I'm a young mom. Like, I'm only, I'm 43 and I don't have any problem. We can go wherever they want to go. But you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do? I'll plan it.
Right.
And that's just that's the type of sponsor I am. That's the type of mom I am. Bryce's friends always over here, pool party, whatever they want to do, just making it fun and making those memories. So we got very active really quick. From that point, I wanted to know who else had a Black student union in CUSD and who else had one in the Valley. Because now I'm like, okay, we got a little burn going. Who's over at Basha? Who's at Chandler? Like, who's at ACP? And some didn't have one, but then soon acquired one. Like, once they heard we're getting active, everyone's like, okay, I'm here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. So then we all connect, and then we start doing things as a district. So every year we do things as a district. We do small things individually, like on campus.
Yeah,
but we do things like everybody go to Top Golf and reserve the spot. Everyone go bowling. Everyone go skating. Skate night, 90s theme. 90s theme. Make sure
skate night, 90s theme.
Yeah, 90s theme, skate night, and stuff like that. Wow. So we have always something going together.
And the kids from each school can interact with each other. Mm-hmm. Hamilton can hang out with Castile. Yes. Chandler can hang out with ACP. Yep. Bash is there.
Christmas party, joint Christmas party. Dance party, even like, how the kids are, there's a dance for every song and a TikTok or whatever. And,
do you organize the playlist? Do they got Miss Black on the ones and twos?
Clean.
Edited versions only.
Playlist.
How do I say this? My challenges as a Black art educator have not changed really, as far as like being the only person in the room. There is still a handful of Black educators at Tucson High, certified ones. There's like maybe 2 handfuls of Black staff. They're across the board in Arizona. I've heard from everybody in different places I've worked. There's a lack of understanding about what Black educators need, and how things might impact them. So like, for instance, across campuses, there's a lot of use of the N-word colloquially and like just dropping it. I hear it multiple times a day. For my colleagues, it's not pleasant to hear that either, but it doesn't affect them the same way as it affects me. There are these like kind of nuanced things that, if you are not a Black educator, you're not picking up on. You're not seeing what we're seeing. And also just the feeling of having another educator see what you're doing, who is Black. Black folks are not only 4% of the teaching population, but 4% of the Arizona population, right? We are definitely a minority. And the school demographics aren't necessarily that different from Marana. The vast majority of our students are white and Hispanic, and then, it decreases from there. Tucson High is a Title I school, so there's more diversity of class, I think, than maybe in Marana. Although Marana's pretty diverse too, to be honest.
Yeah.
So mm-hmm. I don't know, all those things factor in, and so like I'm more interested in, how do we have more Black educators? How do we have, like, nationwide? Because we know that we're also a small percentage nationwide of educators. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, that does, Liz. And that absolutely does. I want to ask you, so what keeps you in education? Because I think you mentioned the pandemic being this really seminal moment in your teaching career and exposing, I think, even for students, but certainly for staff, like you said, particularly for Black staff. It was just a really difficult time. And I don't know that we've taken the opportunity to really unpack and check in with each other following. It was like, okay, hey, we don't have to wear masks anymore. Everyone can come back. We can have assemblies. Let's get it, right? Everyone loves assemblies. But thinking about them, and speaking from personal experience, frankly, thinking about the exodus that we've seen of teachers leaving the classroom in the years since the pandemic, what keeps Ms. Denneau in education in the classroom?
Teaching is something I'm really good at. That comes naturally to me. And mostly because I feel like I know how to talk to kids, all ages, really, but mostly teenagers. And I have a level of respect for them that is just kind of automatic because I've been a teenager that went through some really rough times. But to be perfectly honest, and to anybody who's watching this and thinking about becoming a teacher, and like, you know, the pay isn't great. No. There's a lot of like a lot of requirements, like a lot of things that are required of you. It can be incredibly stressful. You're dealing with humans, you're dealing with developing humans, and then you're dealing with those humans' parents who are just desperately wanting the best for them, right? And so there's a lot of emotions entangled in that. But one of the reasons why I'm still in education is because education is one of the few jobs that affords me the time to still be a practicing artist. And it is not easy because, as you know, Tyler, at the end of the day, sometimes you just want to crawl into bed. You don't want to go down to your studio and make art, right? But there aren't a lot of jobs that I can go to and say, hey, I got a month-long residency at, you know, whatever institution, and I'll be gone. And they'll be,
I'll see
you know,
you in a month.
See you in a month. No.
Don't ask about me. I'll be back. I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it when I get back.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't work. But I get, you know, I don't like saying summer's off because we're not paid for the summer. That's a misconception people have.
No.
But
and we know how it works. We end up going back weeks, sometimes weeks before the first.
Oh my gosh, it seems like
After
earlier
July.
Every year. Every year it's earlier. I'm like, why are we starting so early? So that's why I stay. One, because I'm good at it. Two, because I get to in the arts, I get to teach kids how to develop an artistic practice, a practice of creativity, whether or not they're going to go into the arts, right? But if you create a creative practice, whatever it is, it'll sustain you. The arts are important. I'm not like anybody who's arguing that they're frivolous and not important, hasn't picked up a history book, whatever. But like,
it's probably not our target audience.
No,
right?
no,
they're probably not tuning in. And if they are, they need to check themselves.
Yeah, they need to check themselves, especially,
you know, come on now.
Black artistry is huge, and it's missing from our history, right? It's missing from all of these, just like our Black scientists and all those things. But there is a huge contribution, especially in America, that Black artists have made, that Mexican artists have made, that Chinese and Vietnamese and all these artists have made that are untold. And I have those students in my classroom, and their history is not being told to them. So I have this awesome platform to introduce them to their history. And in a way that the thing about art is that it's more accessible than maybe a math problem, right? It's an emotional connection, as well as an analytical one, as well as a symbolic one. It's all those things, but it's something that they can grab hold of, and you don't have to have a master's degree to do it. So like, that's what keeps me in the classroom, but it fits for my life. And, you know, public loan service forgiveness is a good thing.
It's a very good, listen, it's a very good thing. We got to utilize our resources.
Keep it up, guys. 10 years. You got this.
Yes. Liz, you have already dropped so much game on us. Thank you for being here. I think it's about that time. We're going to jump into the final portion of this episode. We call it our exit ticket.
Oh, no.
I hope you're ready.
I'm dead. You
So
said
here,
exit ticket?
it's our exit ticket, okay?
Okay.
So
Do you have your SMART goals on the board?
I do not have my SMART goals. No administrator asked for them, so I am not going to provide them today. But I do. You're amazing. I miss you. I do have a series of 3 prompts, really 3 questions for you, and here are my only instructions.
Okay.
You can only choose one.
Okay.
First, you can only choose one dance: the wobble or the Cupid shuffle.
I like the Cupid shuffle.
Really? I thought you were gonna go the wobble. You remember we were at that TUSD
Oh yeah.
African American student kickoff?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the wobble came on. And
Yeah.
I saw you hitting the wobble, and the students were like, "Go, Miss D, go, Miss D." So this isn't just a random question on a Black podcast.
Probably
This is rooted in a memory I have with you from, I don't know, 2019.
I'm sorry, I screwed that up for you. No, I don't.
You going with the Cupid? Okay, I'm not mad. At it.
You know why? Because it reminds me of like old school step-in music a little bit. You know, because you get it's like electric slide. Remember, I am Gen X.
Electric slide, yes. So if I put electric slide on here, would you have chosen that over Cupid?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my generation, yo.